right now. Watch out now. On deck. We're going to legs at 90 degrees. Legs at 90 degrees.
Come on, with
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to the Marriage Matters Marriage Retreat 2019 Gatlinburg. One team, one vision, one goal. In the game of marriage, this is your halftime.
all right. If you are winning the game, your coaches will motivate you to keep going, to stay focused. They'll give you tips on how to handle tackles and timeouts or flags on the play.
On the other hand, if you are struggling at this halftime, your coaches will give you new and renewed motivation to recover the ball and get your head in the game.
It's go time! First and 10, Marriage Matters is about to get down to business. When I call your name, raise your hand, shake your flyers, do whatever it is, let us know that you're in the place. Our feature teams for the weekend are Hugh and Rachel Daniels, Rodney and Tanja Fagan, Danny Ray and Ebony Freeman, Mark and Stephanie Freeman, Patrick and Latasha Kelly, Roderick and Gloria Jackson, Cedric and LaQuita LaBaron and Stephanie Lee, Robert and Jennifer Meadows, Eddie and Vicky Richard,
Demetrius and Adrena Sanders, Howard and Marilyn Faith, John and Krista Thomas, Eric and Carrie Underwood, Dion and Tracy Washington, Hope and Cedric English, Greg and Renee Stanley. At this time, we introduce to you our two coaches who will motivate us to score big, recover fumbles, and make many touchdowns. Please give a good Marriage Matters welcome, all the way from Restoration Place Church, Mobile, Alabama, Pastor Timothy and Anita Conway.
Yes, we're so excited to be here. All right, couples, give yourselves a hand for being in the house this morning. Now, y'all had the best band in the land on the screen earlier, Alabama A&M University.
That's it, that's it.
Yes.
And long as we don't have any state fans in the house, that's you're in trouble. Anybody but state, that's all right. We're super excited to be here today, and we just want to start off by saying thanks ahead of time to Pastor Stanley and his lovely wife for inviting us here. And let me
Let's
tell
give
you,
it up for
let's give it up for them. You know, Pastor Stanley is a very, very unique individual, and if you probably already know this about him, but he's a very loving and just wise man. I've grown up in Alabama for all my life, and I went away for about 5 or 6 years. And when I came back, and so we kind of knew of each other, but there was something about him that drew me to him, and we reached out, and we just have a unique friendship, relationship, and he's just one of those good brothers. You know, we got a lot of people that claim they got titles and positions, but they're not good people. I know this is a marriage, so I'm going to get to that, but I'm just saying, he's a really good guy, and the only thing I have against him is that he's an Alabama fan. Yes, sir. We in the house, so that's the only thing I have against him, but other than that, he's a good guy. We just thankful for being here. All right, without further ado, and at some point, we're going to walk out here. This podium might seem a little restricted, but we're going to dive right into this. The first session here is talking about us against the world, right? Let's say that together. Us against the world.
Us against the world.
Come on, let's say it again. Us against the world.
Us against the world.
And yeah, you can put it in the center. And so, you know, we got a couple of stats here that we want to share with you. And in order for us to know for sure how to make it in this life, you got to have an us mentality. The world does not want marriage to last. Is that right?
That's right.
And so the world has all of these stats to say that marriage isn't working. So, well, let's say this. Let me qualify our relationship. Lady D and I have been together
20 years.
20 years. I had to think about that. We've been
married
18 years and been together 20 years. We met at Alabama A&M University.
All right.
In the year of 1999 is when we kind of started dating at that time, and you know, we're not perfect. We just been together long enough to know a little bit about what we know, and we also by trade we have degrees in bachelor's and master's degrees in psychology and family counseling, and so that's sort of like what we do. What we don't have an experience, we have in hours and hundreds of hours of counseling other couples. And I tell people it doesn't mean that we're perfect. It just means that we've dedicated our lives to studying human behavior and relationships. I feel like that's what we do. Is that right?
Amen. We have 3 kids, and this is important because we have one that's 14, 12, and 11 months. Wow. So we just
yes,
had a baby
I need some prayers. I tell you what, the Lord has changed our lives the last 11 months. And
yeah, we thought we were settling into, you know, middle adulthood a little bit, but, you know, not with an 11-month-old.
I'm telling you, I can run faster.
Young and vibrant again, you know, like, okay, get up, feed me.
And so all of that, the sleepless nights and all that, we're dealing with that. And so this little gray that it would start off black, but now it was salt and pepper. Now it's more like, you know, salt. So, you know, that's just where we are. But I love my life. I love my wife, and we're full-time ministry, so that's what we do. All right. So I just wanted to clarify a little bit of that. All right. So again, us against the world. The world doesn't want us to make it. Honey, can you read some of the stats? Why are we doing this? Why is it us against the world?
Well, the worldly stats say that 50% of first-time marriages end in divorce, 63% of second-time marriages end in divorce, and 74% of third marriages end in divorce.
So whether you are been married for the first time, stats say, the world says that 50% of you won't make it. And it didn't say in the first 6 months. They say make it, period. See, I think sometimes we think that the stats say, well, if we make it past the first 5 years, we're going to make it. But there are couples that are divorcing now after 20 years.
Right.
They are divorcing now after 25, 30 years because they made some kind of crazy commitment that when the kids go off to college, then we're going to go our separate ways. Right? So you're still a part of the stats. All right? All right, and then so now, the second, if you've been married for the second time, those stats say, what, 63% of those don't make it. And if you happen to be on your third, then they want to say that 74% don't make it. But tell somebody, this is not the world.
This is not the world.
Come on, we are believers of God in here. We believe that we're going to make it. Why? Because God is helping us make it. And listen, with God's help, if God says, the scripture says, if God be for you, who can be against you? Tell somebody, it's us against the world. Come on, give yourselves a hand right there.
And I want to commend you couples for investing, making the financial investment, the investment of time that it takes to succeed in marriage. The fact that you're here is a declaration. I don't care where your marriage is. It could be on the rocks, it could be on the mountain or a valley. But just know, being here and stepping up and showing up, God's going to meet you here. And whatever you need, I believe is in the house. Amen? Amen. So just the fact that you're here, tell your husband and wife, say, we're going to make it. We're going to make it. I don't care what's going on at home. The fact that you showed up, God's going to meet your need. Amen? And so I just want to commend you all for that, for making the investment of money, of time, of resource to be here. And I really believe God is going to meet whatever the need is.
Amen. Amen. And so, like, this whole our 3 sessions that we have, when we do counseling sessions, you can't get it all fixed in one session, right? And so we may not be able to touch every single thing in your marriage today, but in those critical moments, we don't do a lot of beating around the bushes. So we got 3 sessions, and so what we're going to do here, the first one is going to be like an overall assessment. Say assessment. Assessment. So don't judge us off the first session. We trying to just get you to start. And then the second session is when we're going to dig. We're going to go on dig on in there. Okay? We're going to dig on in there. We're going to cut you open. Right? We're gonna find out some stuff. Is that all right?
That's all right.
And then the last one, we're gonna close you back up, right? We're gonna give you some physical therapy, hand you back to your pastor, right? And then he's gonna have to go through your physical therapy to get you back to road to recovery. Is that all right? All right. And this is just surgery. So right now we're gonna do a little assessment, and then the second session, be ready. Okay? All right, so let's talk about some things that we want to deal with and keeping this us against the world mentality. Tell somebody, we got to be strong.
We got to be strong.
Right, your marriage has to be strong, especially now in a day and age where they're coming against the idea of marriage and same-sex relationships and just singleness, period. I don't need a man. I don't want a woman. Your marriage has to be strong. And so we want to talk about some of the things to help you keep a strong marriage.
Amen. So the first thing is to establish Christ as your foundation and glue. You must establish Christ as your foundation and glue.
All right. So the scripture there, if you want some scripture, Joshua chapter 24, verse 15. You want to write that down. Joshua chapter 24 and 15. It says, and I quote, as for me and my house, somebody say my house, we will serve the Lord. Amen. You have to make that declaration that as for me and my house, I don't care what the Johnsons are doing. I don't care what your other family members are doing. And listen, you may be one of the few couples that last in your home. Right? Maybe your parents got divorced. Maybe none of your siblings are married. Maybe a lot of your family members are divorced or they didn't get married. But you have to declare, as for me and my house, this is what we're going to do. All right? Touch your spouse and say, this is what we're going to do.
This is what we're going to do.
Right. We're not going to worry about everybody else. We're not going to worry about other things. We're going to worry about, this is what we're going to do. As for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. That is the foundation and the glue that keeps it together. All right? What's another strong element?
Another one is powerful partnership. I love the scripture in Old Testament. Mm-hmm. It says that one can chase 1,000, but 2 can put 10,000 to flight.
That's right.
So individually, yes, you have power. Individually, yes, you have calling. But the fortitude, the strength, and the power that comes forth from a united force of 2 people is amazing. And the scripture lets us know that. So powerful partnership, if it's us against the world, but God promises that He'll get in that thing and cause you to do exponential things when you're together versus individually.
Right. And so marriage is a partnership. This is not just one way, right? But then you have to agree not on everything, but you have to first, let's say this together, agree together.
Agree together.
Say this again, agree to be together.
Agree to be together.
It doesn't mean that I have my way or that she has her way. We just have to partnership that even though one of us may be dissatisfied for the moment, we still agree that this is not a deal breaker.
That's right. Amen. Amen.
We still agree that this is not a deal breaker. All right? Write that word down because we use that a lot, especially when we're bantering, going back and forth. And listen, you want to know, do we argue? Of course we do. Yeah. Right? We've been together for 20 years and we do marriage counseling and we do all kind of counseling, children's counseling. We're professional arguers, right? When we argue, we like heavyweights. It's like Mike Tyson and Holyfield. And so, and what I mean by that, it's not like a lot of yelling and screaming. It means that she knows my strengths and weaknesses. I know her strengths and weaknesses. And when we start pulling out these, couples, active listening tools and stuff like that, we're using that. Come on, we're using a fillet knife. Come on, as a screwdriver. We know the tools, but we know what we're doing. So when we argue, it's heavy, but it doesn't last long, and we don't argue a lot. Why? Because we have a partnership, and we use words like deal breaker. When she says, okay, this is a deal breaker, that means I have to stop what I'm doing because she's not willing to participate. This is something that's going against the partnership. Is that all right? So write that word down, deal breaker. And it's okay at some point in time if you argue or something, like if we're going over to somebody for a barbecue, all right?
And it's good to establish what those deal breakers are.
Yes.
They're different for every couple, every situation.
I need some coffee on that.
And we don't have to, if that's okay. I think sometimes, even when we have couples and friends that we admire, we say, well, that's a deal breaker for them, and so that needs to be one for us. No, as a couple, you are the team. You are the team. So you all decide what's the deal breaker. For him, not a home-cooked meal, fast food is a deal breaker. You ain't trying to do that.
So now we can't live like that, right? we all
right. You go rice and chicken and all that good stuff. But I'm okay with that. So it's you. It's whatever you guys decide. And for some, for a guy, fast food, pizza is fine. That's okay. We don't have to be like any other couple as long as we win in ourselves, amen.
That's right.
Ourselves, that's important.
Right, and so, like, for example, guys, I'm gonna put this out here for us. Like, sometimes we know Saturday, Sunday, football. If you're into football, right? Okay, now we know we like to watch the game and stuff like that. And so after 20 years, she used to get repulsed just by me wanting to turn it on. And so I pretend like I don't want to watch it, and I'm trying to at least let me check the score, and then the score turned into let me watch the rest of this half and stuff like that. And so then I had to just say, you know what? I want to watch my favorite team. So I got two favorite teams. I got the Auburn Tigers and I have the New Orleans Saints, right? And so don't start, man. Stay focused. And so I had to start telling her, look, I have a rough week like you. And I have on Saturdays, if Auburn's playing on TV, I want to spend those 3 hours engaging myself in that because I need that. Right? And then after church, right? And then on Sundays, after church and stuff like that, it's the New Orleans Saints. Like, I need that. And I understand
that. That's a need.
Right, that's a need for me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so when we do that, I had to start saying, look, if you don't let me, I feel like that's a deal breaker. I'm not asking to watch 10 games. I understand that. I'm just saying, for me, this is right. For me, I just want this one. Okay, so you may not want to go. We don't have no money, but go in the window shop. Go and do something that you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Because
So railroad plays, ain't nobody at the mall, no way.
Nobody.
Window shine, whatever I find, it stay in the car until I can put it in the back of the closet.
So everybody say partnership.
Partnership.
And that's just a sports example, but there are many different areas of partnership, and I want to get that word deal breaker out so you can say, hey, this is something we do need to tackle because I feel like it's a deal breaker. And last thing I'm going to say about that, everything ain't a deal breaker. I know we educated in here, but let's get country right now and say this, everything ain't a deal breaker.
Ain't a deal breaker.
All right, so don't you start, that's a deal breaker, that's a deal breaker. Everything ain't a deal breaker. Let's just say that. Just the things that are really, really, and we'll get to some of those other things, but I just want to put that out there. All right, and so what's the next one, honey?
I love this one. Malleability or flexibility. That is definitely needed.
What was that first one?
The first one,
Malleability and flexibility. Malleability. If you need some help spelling, let me spell that.
which is the same thing. It's just gonna work.
Malleability. Malleability.
Which is the same thing as flexibility, right? Right. Sometimes there, and I say that because there will be ebb and flow in marriage. There'll be times when the money's good and the times when the money ain't there at all. Right? There'll be times, when we're getting along well, and there'll be stressful times that cause us to have to have more conversation and all that sometimes turn into argument. But it's important that we be flexible. There have been times in our marriage, honestly, where, he let me finish a degree, while he took on the household, and, vice versa, just different things where I couldn't work because I was pregnant or had a baby or whatever. And I think that's a very important tool. We have to be able to handle those ups and downs and not decide that's the ticket out. But that we be flexible, that we be patient and gracious toward the other person.
Right, and the longer you stay together, you actually start merging into one another. All right, and so the perfect example of that for us is that I'm an extrovert. I'm congenial. I have a lot of charisma. It's who I am. My personality type is the I don't know the abbreviation, but I know the first one is entertainer, right? And so that doesn't mean that I want to be an entertainer. It's just that it means that my personality says that I draw strength from crowds, right? The bigger the crowd, the more comfortable I feel. The smaller the crowd, the less confident I am, right? And so that's just me, but she's the exact opposite, right? I used to be to the point to where I met no strangers. I go into a room full of people, I'm like, hey, and she over there in the corner. and then when we get home, on the ride home, I'm saying, you didn't speak to everybody, and you got to just run in your mouth and so now 20 years later, right, I found out that I don't have to have my words fill the air, right? And I go into a room full of people, and as pastoring after 8 years of pastoring and 20 years of ministry, I find a corner and go sit down somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And she out, hey, how you doing? I'm like, you giving everybody our phone number. So we have turned into each other. Some kind of way. Flexible and being malleable. I realized there was some strengths in being quiet, and you observe more and learning how she saw this and saw that while I was talking. And I realized I need to sit down and start looking around and stop talking so much. And then she realized, hey, let me go out. And so that's what happens.
But definitely being a pastor's wife, when God puts you in that position and he develops your heart for people, I just couldn't sit there and not speak to people. When that love, God puts that love in you for people and the things that they're going through, you gotta reach out. And so that's sort of what happened for me organically. God put people in my heart, and because of that, I had to touch them. I can't just sit back and look at them. So I thank God for that.
So as you continue to do that, you think about your own relationship. You need him to be who he is.
Amen.
You need her to be who she is, right? And you need that flexibility to be able to move and flow, you know. And every time you go through a struggle, and just like the scriptures speak about the willows, the certain trees, the palm trees, we understand that down where I'm from, we have a lot of palm trees, and in Florida, palm trees and even pine trees are very flexible. It's the oak that won't move, right? But the pine trees and the palm trees, when the wind blows, those things, they bend, you know, they sway. That's a part of their nature, right? They're not so easily broken. It's not because they're the strongest tree. It's because they're the most flexible, right? A palm tree top can bend all the way down and touch the ground, and as soon as that wind is over, it pop right back up, right? That's how your marriage needs to be. You may have the pressures of life that bend you all the way down, just like Pastor was trying to get down there.
Oh, wow.
You know, when the wind stopped blowing, right? You don't lay down and go, it's your fault we got here. It's your fault. No, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. No, it's the struggle. The struggle is over, so we can just get back up.
Yeah.
Right? You may have to eat, ramen noodles for 1 week or 2 weeks, beanie weenies or whatever. But that's money. It's gonna get better. Let me tell you something. The trouble can't last always. I don't know who I'm talking to.
All right, now.
It won't last always, right? The earth is moving. Everything around you is moving. Trouble got to keep moving too, right? And as soon as the trouble is over, then you get back up and you start back on the journey that you were on, all right?
And I think it's important that when we're in those seasons where there is trouble and there is friction, that we don't abuse each other, during those times.
Right.
Because when we get back up, we're going to get back with additional problems, but it's important that we still honor and respect one another, and that's the next one, honor and respect one another. 1 Peter 3:7, it says this: in the same way, you husbands must give honor to your wives. Treat your wife with understanding as you live together. She may be weaker than you are, but she is your equal partner in God's gift to new life. Treat her as you should, so your prayers will not be hindered.
Right. And so, like, one thing when we started, when Lady D and I first got together, we were just Tim and Dalila, right? But we were just Tim and Dalila, but we've always been Tim and Dalila. We've always been together. Like, whenever you saw one, you thought about the other one. If she went somewhere without me, they said, where's Tim? And if I went somewhere, they said, where's Dalila? We were always a partnership. We always stayed together. And even when we started the ministry, she wasn't going to be behind me. It was just, she was going to be beside me, right? And so, no, she's not co-pastor. That's not a title that we throw around, but she's Lady D, and that means a lot at RPC. When I'm not there, Lady D in there, she's just like me. It's like they move around, they serve her just like me. Why? Because at RPC, Lady D, First Lady, is powerful, right? She's got a lot of clout. She makes decisions without me. But then when I'm there, then they come to me. They understand. So that's a partnership that we have, and then we're not gonna let anybody disrespect her, right? Because if you disrespect her, you disrespect me, right? This is just the way it is, and some have tried, and I have to.
You have tried.
Right, yeah, she let them know her way, and then I let them know my way, right? And so.
And then that goes with family and friends too.
Oh, yes.
They'll try to, get in and try to establish something else.
Yes, absolutely. So you have to honor and respect each other, especially in family. Okay, so that was 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 7. And we're getting ready to close this portion out. We got about 10 more minutes. 1 Peter 3:7 saying, in the same way, your husbands give honor to your wives and treat your wives with understanding and as you live together. Your job, you men, you should be studying your wife. I know it's complex. Let me put it like this: women are more complex than men. Period. Okay? They're more
smart.
I like to use that's true. I like to use the words complex.
You're preaching now. Say it for the people in the back.
They are complex.
We can do a lot of things at one time. That's what it is.
Hey, this ain't question and answer.
Because we can do a lot of things at one time successfully. And so that may seem complex. But I don't know.
That's right, but so my goal here is to study her, right? All right, so I'm studying her, and I think I've learned. I got a master's class going now. You know, I think maybe in another 10 years I'll be getting my doctorate degree. But the first 10 years or whatever, I probably wasn't really studying her. I was just enjoying the relationship, but I wasn't picking up on the things. I wasn't really paying attention, right? I was just, you know, making assumptions and doing a lot of that. But the last 10 years, and I would say the last 2 or 3 years, like when we had this baby, that really we just got baptized. We just got saved all over again. You know what I mean? Like, so that really, and I would say the last year and a half, I have really been studying her. Why? Because, you know, let me say this for you guys, like, you know, sometimes the things that they say can be nag. It can feel like that. And they have a responsibility not to do that. And we're going to get to that later. But here's the thing. I've learned that if you pay attention to what they're saying and you study them, they're going to have to stop it at one point in time. Because I did exactly what you told me to do. So it shouldn't be any more of that. You see what I'm saying? Like, but if you don't study, if you're not paying attention, that's why it's still coming, because we're not listening. And I have found I've got a little bit more peace, because I'm like, you're going to keep on saying this about me, but you keep on watch out. And I say, all right, now I did better this time, right? I changed that, right? She's like, yeah, you changed. All right then, we moving along. Why? Because that's what I mean by, you know, studying her, treating your wife with understanding. Your goal is to try to understand, and we'll get into some of that, but I wanted to put that out there as well. And then it says that she may be weaker than you are, but she's equal partner. So we talk about the partnership. And that's going to lead us to the next part of this healthy part.
Which is communication.
Mm-hmm.
Communication.
Say this with me. Talk to me.
Talk to me.
Look at your spouse and say, talk to me.
Talk to me.
I'm going to say it one more time. Talk to me.
Talk to me.
Because you communicate, all right, in other ways.
That's right.
All right? You get to slamming the pots and pans. That's communication. Getting up and walking out the room. It's communication. All right? And so we tell the kids when we're counseling them, we tell them, use your words. Say this out loud. Use your words.
Use your words.
Right? And you may not be good as formulating those words, all right? But then it becomes your responsibility now to help the other one by those words, right? Use them, right? Be nice, but openly communicate. What is it? Open, honest, and effective.
And effective. Open, honest, and effective.
You think you got time to throw that in the active listening? We may not be able to. This one.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I want to do this real quick. The active, say this with me, active listening.
Active listening.
All right, we all know that you can hear something and not be listening. That listening and hearing are two different things. All right, you can hear something in the atmosphere right now. If we're really quiet, we can hear the humming of this computer, right? But we can hear it. It's there, but we're not listening to it.
And also, what we hear is shaped by our culture and what we understand. So I grew up in the North, and so a drink up north, if you tell somebody, give me a drink, that was strong drink, as the Bible say, right? So when he was like, babe, give me a drink, I'm like, really, we drinking now? But that's not what that meant.
Right.
Down south.
I mean, Coke, Sprite.
Right. That's what you drink, but drink is a little short glass like this. So anyway, that culturally we heard something different in that one word. I heard drink in one way. He heard it in another way. And so that's where the active listening exercise comes in, because we're going to show you now how you get to make sure that the person heard what you were trying to convey and didn't just hear words.
Right.
Okay.
And so, all right, I want you. This is the. I don't like to use the word magical because I don't believe in magic. This is the, let's use anointed, all right? This is the anointed phrase. This is the anointed phrase. Write this down. This is very, 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 very important. You can start using it today. You can use this in any relationship. So here's the anointed phrase. So what I hear you saying is. All right? So what I hear you saying is. That's exactly the way you have to write it. So what I hear you saying is. Okay? That's the anointed phrase. Okay. So let me give you an example of how this would work. Okay? So let's say, let's use date night. Date night, we say we're going to go out on Friday night, go to the movies, dinner and a movie, and we're going to, that's first and second base, and we might see what third base, and bring it on home at the end of the night, right? Try to keep it PG. No, we're going to try to do a little something later on, you know. So like you got that in you decided that's what you're going to do. All right, and Monday, it's like Friday, we're going out on a date. Great, we agree on that. And Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, everything is great. Friday is the day. And so you say, we're still going out to date night. You know, for us, it would be babysitter, all this and all that. For those of you that don't, your kids are grown or older, you don't have those, but you do have other things that get in the way. And you say, well, we're still going. You say, yes. All right. She has her day. You have your day. You have decided that what you're going to do is date night for tonight, right? So now, for us, for me, it would be, I'm going to go and see what movie we're going to go buy the tickets. I'm going to pick out the restaurant. I'm going to call and make reservations. She may be getting the babysitter together. She may be doing all this and doing all that. We know we got a short window from the time we get off work, right? Come on, until the time you got to be gone to go do whatever you got to do. Do I have any amens? You know what I'm talking about. All right? So you're doing that. She gets, maybe she gets home before me. Honey, you had a rough day. And when she has a rough day, she comes home, she unveils, she gets, you know, she throw on the, you know, don't touch me, don't bother me clothes. She do one of these things. Well, you already know it's done. By the time they get it's done. It's over. Right? That's the communication. She ain't said a word. Right? So she's doing that. I'm busting through the door like Clark Kent finna turn into Superman. And I'm running. I'm so weak. And I'm looking at her and she's sitting in the bed. And now I'm saying, you know, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? We're going to be late. You know what I'm saying? Did you get the babysitter? Did you get this? You know, so we ain't, you know, we're not going to the movies. And so I go up to her and say, so I guess you don't want to go to the movies. So I guess date night is out. Right? Okay, and so I'm saying that, right? And so she has a response. All right? And so she could, without these tools, what do you think her response is going to be? What is you've had a rough day.
Right, I'm tired.
Right? You're tired. Mm-hmm. You say, I say, we ain't going to the movies, and you say what? I'm tired.
I'm tired.
I'm tired too. I've been working. You ain't, my job, I got to pick up shit. I've been worked 10 hours. I've been doing all of this and everything. I done worked harder than you. My job more strenuous than yours. You don't do nothing but sit on there and be on your phone all day. Don't leave me up here now. Don't leave me out here. I'm going in.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
Amen.
All because she said, I'm tired. And so then when I do all that, what do you think her response is going to be?
I'm tired.
Right. Or she's going to...
You don't care about me.
Yeah, she's going to...
Yeah,
she feels devalued now.
Mm-hmm.
She feels like I don't care about her day.
Right.
And so now you go on about, you don't know what I had to do, and that's your problem now. You selfish, and you know what I'm saying? She got hers. You know what I'm saying? You know, she don't want to act that part out, but it happens. You know, some eyes get to rolling and everything. Neck, you know what I'm saying? And so like now it is over. You're not going on a date. You can take that, you know your own spouse, you can take that wherever you want to go with it. Well, what you're not going to do is go on a date. Right? That's what don't happen. I didn't want to go no way. We ain't got no money no way. We ain't going.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All right. And so, you know, then that messes it up. All right. So now here comes the active listening. I bust through, go back, rewind. I bust back through the door like Superman. She's got everything, her head wrap and all this, and settled in with the phone scrolling, right? And so I come in and say, so we ain't going to the movies. And you say again, I'm tired.
I'm tired.
So here I have an opportunity. I said, so what I hear you saying is, because you're tired, we're not going to the movies. Then you give her a chance to respond. And so what I try to do is repeat exactly what I heard. Because I said we're not going to the movies, and you say I'm tired. So I'm thinking, so what I hear you saying is you don't want to go to the movies. But she gets a chance to respond to me to tell me if what I heard was correct. Oh. So I'm saying, so what I hear you saying is you don't want to go to the movies.
No, I'm actually wanting to push it back to tomorrow.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is you don't want to go to the movies tonight,
right?
But you want to go tomorrow.
Correct.
You see how the argument is over with. Now we come on, grab it up right there. All right. So say you got something going on Saturday. Saturday won't work. So let's try to make it work Friday.
That ain't gonna help.
So what I hear you saying is that you don't want to go to, because you're tired, you don't want to go to the movies.
Correct. Not tonight.
Okay, we're gonna give an example. If we can try, I really want to go Friday. So say maybe you really want to go. You want to go, but the whole thing, later, dinner later.
Okay, I really want to go, but can we schedule it for, give me another hour to get some rest, and then we can go to a later dinner.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is, because I got reservation at 7. I already told you about this. You already knew. So what I hear you saying is, you want to go to dinner first, or do you want to go to dinner second? Which one you want to do? Because I got the reservation at 7. Do you want me to change that? Or so what I hear you saying is you want me to change the schedule.
If you can.
Okay, I'm going to go try to see if I can change it. You go back, you try to change it. All right, we change it or whatever. So now I say, all right, we got dinner at 8. Mm-hmm. I got the movie at 9. Is that okay?
That's perfect.
Okay, so now what it is that you start working it out.
Right.
But you don't get to work it out until you say, so what I hear you saying is.
Right.
Right?
Instead of coming in, because the
right.
assumptions is what creates the argument and creates the tension.
Correct. And let me give you a prime example. Let me give you a fast one. Sometimes you're not prepared for dinner. Yeah. And the question could be, what's for dinner? Now, you know, sometimes that question for what's for dinner can start World War III. Right? Because one want one thing and one want the other. Yeah. So I'm saying, what do you want? And she's saying, it don't matter. Oh. In theory, you saying it don't matter, but it really does matter. So I had to learn over the 20 years to not start rattling. I realized I should start saying, well, what do you want? I'm going back and forth. You can't ever decide. Why don't you decide? No, you want you decide. You decide. And going back and forth. So when I start saying like this, I start saying things like, when I said, what's for dinner? She said, it doesn't matter. So what I hear you saying is, I get to choose, and whatever I choose is what you're going to eat. That's going to bring her out of it. She went, hold on. Let's try. Is that right? I got a response out of her. And me and you got to do that. Ladies, you have to do that. So what I hear you saying is, I get to choose, and whatever I choose is what we're going to eat. Now, sometimes she may say, I I think so. Or yes. And then I say, well, I want pizza. And she be like, okay. So, right, because she gave me the choice, right? And so that's what active listening does. You can say that and do that in any certain situation. So what I hear you saying, and when you say, so what I hear you saying is, your goal is to try to repeat exactly what you heard them say.
Okay.
And then when they say, no, that's not what I said,
then you get an opportunity to restate it.
then you say, well, can you repeat it? And fellas, what you gonna find out is they gonna keep on changing their story.
No.
Right? So what this tool does though, it creates an atmosphere of communication.
Yes.
And you're no longer assuming. You're saying what I heard, and you're verifying it through that source. Because sometimes I may say something that I don't really mean. So when she says, so what I hear you saying is, then I get to say, well, no, I didn't say that. So, okay, well, that's what I heard, so repeat it. I said, I want to go here. All right, so what I hear you saying is, you want to do this. And it sounds very, very elementary, but those things are going to save you a lot of time and energy and frustration.
Amen.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, and our time is up. So the last thing we want to say is forgive. Ephesians 4:26. You just write that down. Ephesians 4:26. And then, which says, in your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry. All right? And so don't let a day go by with you if you're angry. And I've learned that she gets angry different than me. I grew up culturally, we fuss it out, right? We gonna talk this out. We gonna get it out so that way we can be done with it.
No, I grew up. You go withdraw
Right.
from the situation. Think about what you want to say, so you say the right thing and not just blurt out things.
And she used to withdraw, and I used to follow behind her. You what you? And why you? And you ain't gonna act like that. So after and then she turned around. If you don't get But so what I had to learn though is I had to use when she withdraws and gets quiet, then I would get quiet. I realized that, you know what, you probably need to think a little bit too. So and sometimes, and I used to get upset, she used to, sometimes like, I'm gonna go, she might go to a coffee shop or she might go drive around, something like that. I used to get offended by that, but now I'm like, well, you go on then. Go on and work it out yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm standing, you know what I'm saying? So like, but what happens though, when she goes and she works it out, when I'm by myself, I can't argue with myself.
That's right. Yes.
Right?
Amen.
And so I'm like, well, okay, well, let me think about it. And by the time she come back, sometimes she stay gone for a couple of hours. I'll be like,
Coming back.
But by the time, she comes back, I know she's thought about it and she has something she wants to say, right? And so I've learned to use that moment not as a tension builder, but time out. Even in the most heavyweight fights, they do have a bell that ring and say, "Go to your corners."
Yes.
Right? Go to your corners and rest a little bit, then come back, right? But no, you're gonna kill somebody. You stay out there. You know what I'm saying? They stay. They go to their corners, and so that's how you do that. All right. And then last but not least, everybody say laugh.
Laugh.
Laugh through the good times, through the bad times. A cheerful heart. I sense in this room that you all have a lot of good laughs, and so that is a very good, healthy tip right there. All right, and this is going to end our first session, and hope you enjoy. We're going to turn it back over into First Lady.
All right, let's give them another hand. All right, y'all know what's up. If you know me, we got a teachable moment from the session. And what this game is we got this. And I'm gonna pass out these favors. And what you will have to do is put the favor together. One hand the husband, one hand the wife. Both of y'all, one hand, putting the object together? Who puts the object together on that one team? Y'all get a prize. And both objects should be put together. And this little ribbon that she passed out, we're going to show y'all where it goes. Help you, Lord. Y'all work it out which hand you want to use. And we're going to show y'all what the end project should look like. But what this all demonstrates is that you work together. You work together for a common end. And where everybody's heart may not look the same or look like you think it should look, every marriage don't look. Every marriage don't look the same. You ain't got to be a copycat of what somebody else is doing. The only thing you got to do is be the best Johnson you could be, or be the best Stanley you could be, or whatever. Be the best. So y'all figure out which hand. Just one. And I'm going to show y'all what it looks like. These are what the end results should look like. I'm going to walk by and let you all see what they should look like from that flat paper. What it should look like. Y'all got it? Yep. You use one hand. Just one hand. Teamwork.